A drone attack on a U.S. military base in Jordan killed 3 American troops.
U.S. Central Command says 3 soldiers were killed and at least 34 others were hurt after a drone attack late Saturday night on a U.S. military base known as Tower 22 in northern Jordan.
So the Iranian connection to the Houthi rebel group, what is that? And then why are they firing on commercial ships and getting close to U.S. Navy vessels?
I'd argue that the Houthis are overall among the least effective militant groups on the planet. And the only reason that we think of them is because they're in a zone where every once in a while they've shot some missiles into, say, the Saudi oil infrastructure, which has, raised a few alarms. The water table there has basically been destroyed, and the single largest cash crop in the country is something called khat, which is a mild hallucinogenic, which a lot of Houthi forces are kind of high on most of the day. So don't go looking for too much logic in their actions. And they're the perfect disposable proxy for the Iranians as a result.
Iran has been enabling the activity of the Houthis as they've done what they've done. Iran's desire is to be a hegemon in this region.
You throw them some weapons, they'll shoot them off. Maybe they even shoot them at someone from time to time. These are not capable forces. But you give them the right time of equipment, the anti-ship missile, and they can cause a lot of havoc in the Red Sea.
Air, new track, 80306. ISS is anti-ship cruise missile inbound Gravely.
This is what the crew of a U.S. warship hears when a Houthi missile is headed their way.
MSSI, missiles away, 80306.
Nominally, the Houthis are doing this in solidarity with Palestinians, but I would argue there's probably not a single Houthi on the planet who has ever met a single Palestinian. These are 2 of the most isolated populations in existence, and they are just literally trying to stir shit up.
They seek to disrupt what they believe is a U.S.-led regional order, and on the top of that is the backing of Israel in the region.
From the Iranian point of view, anything that blows up is in Yemen and not in Iran, and so the risk is very, very, very low. And just like eastern Syria, the only way to fix this would be to send in 250,000 troops and physically take the place over, and the Americans are hard pass on that. So again, we're in this holding pattern where the United States can't really decide what its global strategy is, and until it can do that, it can't really decide what its regional Middle East strategy is. So we're trying to keep our fingers in the pot without getting overcommitted, and it's awkward, and there is no way to explain that to the American population without making yourself look like a chump.
I've seen multiple politicians talking about you have to go into Iran, you have to bomb Iran. What would that do if the United States escalated things to that level?
The Iranian system is a theocracy with well over 10,000 mullahs in the political system. Kill half of them, you haven't functionally changed anything. There's a reason why Persia has been around for 6,000 years. It's behind a series of mountain ramparts. Invasion isn't functionally impossible. It's really only been done twice in its history, and it's survived both of them. But if the goal is to bleed Iran and make them notice, they actually hit the supply chain that allows them to do what they do in places like Syria and Lebanon. There's a simple target. It's called Karg Island, and that's where over 90% of their oil is exported. It's infrastructure that predates the Islamic Revolution in 1999, a series of pipes that go under the Persian Gulf to get to this island. There's no bridge. And if you destroy the loading tanks and the storage tanks and the loading terminals, it would take the Iranians a minimum of 5 years to rebuild them by themselves, probably a lot longer because of that cultural decay. They don't have the ability to do this kind of construction on their own. You don't do that unless you have decided that, yeah, we're done with the world, which means we're done with oil. And if you're going to go out and eliminate an oil supplier to the world, that means you're no longer interested in the global oil market. And we may get there, but I doubt we would get there in an election.